New, urban, ethical, authentic, sports, entertainment, something for the old, something for the new, something for everybody in between. We leave nothing untouched. We are Spoon 107.5 FM.
Okay, folks, time here in Liberia, 8 minutes after 3 p.m. Today is Monday, the 26th day of January 2026. And today is Sona Day as well. Today is State of the Nation Address Day. The president is going to be addressing the people through their legislators as enshrined in Article 58 of the Constitution. So wherever it is you're listening to us from, you definitely welcome. We'll be bringing you a pre-Sona analysis as well as the entire State of the Nation address and post-Sona analysis as well. My name is Diamond Slanger. You welcome again. Rosemary McKeever is going to join us here in studio. Yekezi Zwogbe and Nelson Collier already on the grounds of the Capitol to bring us live happenings there at the Capitol building. So wherever it is you're joining us from, you're welcome to those stations relaying us all across Liberia. Smart FM in Grand Jida County is relaying us, and a host of other stations relaying us. Just let us know that you are carrying this broadcast live, and we'll definitely be able to give you recognition. So Smart FM is 98.6 in Zwedru City, Grand Jida County. All right, so President Boakai, according to the official protocol at 4 p.m., he is going to address the nation. He is going to address the nation. We'll read out the protocol for the day to you as well. Guests already arriving from what we were watching earlier. Guests arriving, members of the diplomatic corps arriving, as well as other dignitaries of government arriving, including guests that have been invited. So yes, what is President Boakai going to tell Liberians? This is his third State of the Nation address, and there's something very, very interesting between the second and the third. Rosemary is going to bring us up to speed with what's that interesting fact between President Boakai's second State of the Nation address and now his third State of the Nation address that he is going to carry out his constitutional mandate at exactly 4 p.m. So Rosemary is here. Pleasant afternoon to you, Rosemary. How are you doing?
I am fine, thank you, Diamond. How about you? How are you?
I'm pretty well. I'm doing good as well. State of the Nation, Sona, a constitutional mandate. Voice of Tapeta, 98.0. is relaying us there in Tapeta City, that's Nimba County. Tapeta is in Nimba. I nearly said Grand Anyway, because I'm freshly back from Grand so
so you're thinking that that you're still there.
Yeah.
So being there, huh?
Yeah. So Voice of Tapeta 98.0 is also relaying this broadcast. So Rosemary, I'll start off by saying, yep. All right. There is an interesting fact. President Boakai's second and his third State of the Nation address both falling on the 26th of January. Yes.
Okay. So what does that say?
Well, I don't know. It's just just a fact.
So can we
it's just a fact.
Do we put some superstitious belief on it?
that is left with those who are superstitious enough to look at that. But on the 26th of January 2025, President Boakai addressed the country, and today is the 26th of January 2026. The only difference with the first was it fell on the 29th of January 2024. So his first State of the Nation address was on, let's see, it fell on the 27th.
The 27th.
Yeah, 27th.
Yes, the 27th.
Yeah.
It was on the 27th.
So the inauguration was on the 22nd.
Yes.
So the
second one fell on the 27th.
Yes.
So the first one was let's see, 2023, right?
Yeah. The first one was the
2024.
The 27th, that was 2024. The second was on the 26th, that was 2025. Today is the 26th of January.
So the second was the 27th of 2025 because the 27th was on Monday.
Okay.
The 26th last year.
Then I'm getting my bearings wrong.
Yes.
Then I'm getting my bearings wrong.
The second was on the 27th. Let me get my notes. The first was on the 29th. The second was the 27th.
When you finish there.
And the third is on the 26th. It was on a Monday, right? It's the last working Monday, right?
The fourth.
The fourth working Monday.
Yeah. So sometimes months have 5 working Mondays.
Okay.
So check your calendar.
So 2025.
Yeah.
January,
the fourth Monday. When you finish, let me know.
The fourth Monday is the 27th.
The 27th.
Yeah.
All right. So this one is the 26th. So
it's just a day.
So the first one was what?
The 29th.
So the 29th, the 27th, the 26th.
So
the 2 days.
Yeah, just a day.
Okay, so there are 2 days difference between the first and the second.
And for this one, it's just literally 24 hours.
24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I had some historical fact to share, but yeah.
But that would have been fun.
Yeah, that would have been fun. But looking at the first State of the Nation address 2024, that was a week after President Boakai's inauguration.
Yes.
And that particular State of the Nation was more of a transitional one.
Yeah, it was.
Now let's move to the second. Now he has spent a year in power. The first State of the Nation address introduced the arrest agenda. The second one, people were looking for his own report now, because the first it was more of, we met the state. The State of the Nation is not what we thought it would have been. We made it worse than what it was, and what we thought it was, and a whole lot. So this is a rundown of the first State of the Nation address that was on the 29th of January 2024. And these are some of the core messages from President Boakai. He said the state of our nation is not what we desire.
Because that the first one, because that's when he was taking it from the past, leadership to his now leadership.
Yes.
Okay.
And then he spoke about Liberia's condition around poverty, corruption, drug epidemic, poor infrastructure, and an underperforming economy. Then he positioned his administration as a rescue mission, because he had already said the state of the nation is not what we desire.
Yeah.
So we are now
described it as challenging.
Yes.
As a challenging state, a challenging nation.
Yes. Now, in that first State of the Nation, he also introduced the arrest agenda.
The arrest agenda. Yeah.
Agriculture, roads, rule of law,
Mm-hmm.
education, sanitation, and tourism, the arrest agenda.
Mm-hmm.
That was his guiding framework. He also talked about unity and collective responsibility,
Yeah.
where he emphasized that Liberians have what it takes to overcome burdens imposed by greed and corruption. So the first Sona was more of a transitional and a hopefulness kind of Sona. Now move on to the
To
second.
the second one.
And that tone for the first Sona, Rosemary, was a sober one.
Very sober.
It was a reflective one. And people had a lot of hope.
He was very confident
It was
in
a
that
short,
first one.
yeah, short State of the Nation address. Then the second Sona, he talked about the economy, security,
Yeah.
human rights, economic
Infrastructure,
assessment, yeah.
investment, governance.
He highlighted the suspension of over 450 officials for failing to declare their asset. Remember that time?
Yeah.
There was a mass
He
suspension.
talked about the economic recovery of our GDP.
Yes.
Grew for around 5.1%.
Mhm.
He talked about reduced inflation as a result of sound fiscal and monetary policies, and domestic revenue collection. You know, he talked a lot.
Mhm.
He talked a lot.
But it has been, Liberians would say, a lot of talk. President Boyka.
Well, this is where now he is about to tell us all of the things that he talked about in the second Sona. What has he done towards those things that he has talked about? Okay. So this is where now we're going to listen to all of the works that he has done over the last year to know where we are now as a country. And when he talked about the increase in GDP, we want to know how far we've gone. So we're waiting for that.
So we are definitely waiting for that. And this Sona is also the third, which is symbolic.
It's half of his whole term.
Yeah. Which is 6 years as given by the Constitution. Right. 6 years. So now President Boakai is going to tell the Liberian people through their representatives, and thank God we will be live during the course of this entire State of the Nation address.
We want to see how far he has gone with the road rehabilitation that he talked about. We want to see how far he has gone with the energy projects that he talked about in his infrastructure and investment segment. On his last Sona, we want to talk about the airport improvement. He talked about that. We want to hear how far it has gone, and a lot of things, the mining sector, the aquaculture sector, the agriculture sector. We want to know how far we've gone as a country from the last time that he told us that these things were starting up. So let's know how far we've gone. And by now we are supposed to be, if not 100%, we are supposed to be like 80%.
Now we also have to look at the remote report.
Yes.
That put completed government projects as 0.8%. Yes. So what is the president going to say in contrast to what was said in the remote report? I know those who are supporters of the government have said, look, there is a large percentage of these promises and projects that are currently in the ongoing bracket.
But there was a lot too that's not even started.
So we'll be listening to what the president is going to say concerning, progresses made as well. Folks, if you're just joining us, this is the Spoon Network. We'll be bringing you live images from the Capitol building. The Sona is symbolically going to be held outside the same area of President Boakai's inauguration.
Okay. I hope the heat and everything is okay there though, because the country is hot. We don't want what happened, to repeat itself.
A heat wave. And interestingly, while we're struggling with heat waves in Liberia, our brothers and sisters in the United States are going through
they were going through this snowstorm. So and I think they had about 15 inches of snow.
Yeah, as we follow the State of the Nation address. But there is this feeling, Rosemary. I don't know, but that's how I feel.
Tell me about it.
It feels like I already know
what he's going to say.
What President Boakai is going to talk about.
And what are those things you think he's going to talk about?
Okay. Firstly, when reporting about his stewardship of the country for the past year, 2025, President Boakai is going to talk about, again, the roads that were rehabilitated, cars weren't stuck in the mud, as he said.
Yeah.
You know, people were able to move to the southeastern parts and other parts that were previously treacherous to navigate. He's going to talk about that. President Bwaga is going to talk about the healthcare system, the budget. You know, this new $1.2 billion budget that he's going to talk about. President Bwaga is also going to talk about the issue of the tourism authority, you know, that has now been enacted. He's going to talk about the local government, the Ministry of Internal Affairs that has now transitioned to the Ministry of Local Government, and what powers it will give in terms of decentralization and all of that. He's going to talk about, in terms of decentralization, the fact that there are passport centers open in other parts of the country that you can now.
It looks like you have this whole speech.
No, you have to look at what has happened, you know, during the course of the year. He's also going to talk about the famous yellow machines.
Right.
He's going to talk about.
But this one we're not going to be looking at. We are mainly going to be focused on impact.
Yeah.
On how far we've come. So when he's talking about all of that, we need to know whether this is something that we want at this time. So as he's talking about the roads, how far are the roads that he's going to be talking about? Is it going to be like the same percentage as it was on last year? Because people are still complaining about the roads, about the road issues.
It's a report from his ministers, his executive directors, and the rest. They'll compile what are those impactful things that were completed in 2025. And then he's also going to speak to his legislative agenda for 2026. You know, what are those things that he has also got in front of the legislature, and what are his plans for this year, 2026? He's also going to talk about how the past budget performed. You know, that's part of the reporting to the nation, through the legislators. He's going to talk about that as well, and going to talk about the budget for 2026. Right. Whether the president has signed that budget, you know, it was already passed by the legislature. So a lot is going to be talked about. But let's bring on James on your good flow. Yeah, go ahead, Rosemary. Go ahead.
Because we really do not just want to hear about these projects that are existing. We want to hear how fast they're moving. Because projects being in projects existing and how fast they are moving, there are two different things. So I hope that we've gone far.
We will be following up on all of that. The president is going to talk about his agenda. But let's bring on James. James, how are you doing?
Yeah, good afternoon, Damo and Rose. How do you do?
How do you do?
Well, good morning, bro. We can't complain.
Yeah, we're just talking pre-Sona discussion. That's what we're on. What to expect from the president's speech, his State of the Nation address. One thing again, he's going to talk about inflation, the fact that the rate has been stabilized to some extent. These are some of the things we expect the president to talk about. The challenges still remain in the healthcare system, in the education system. The fact that job creation is paramount. Liberians are listening to know what's in the pipeline for job creation and the rest. Yes, James, what do you have to say? You know, in terms of what is expected of President Bwaga's third State of the Nation address, and how crucial it is, this particular State of the Nation.
You know, the State of the Nation address, the SONA, is specifically about the president reporting to the legislature what he did and the plan ahead. Yes, so technically the president is going to be telling the nation through the legislators about what he did over the years. That is over the year 2025. And I overheard you talking about the road. Yes, we already know, even before the president gets on that podium, we know that the government said they were able to complete about 121 kilometers of roads. So he's going to talk about that, what his administration did in terms of road connectivity or rehabilitation and pavement across the country, 121 kilometers already within 2 years' time. So yes, we expect the president to also talk spend a couple of minutes on road connectivity. Remember, we have about 280 yellow machines, right? on their way coming or above on their way coming to Liberia. So we expect the president to also spend a lot of time outlining what his administration will do with those machines when they shall have gotten to Liberia and how the nation will benefit. Maybe he's going to tell us the plan, not just bringing the machines, but the maintenance of those machines also. We expect the president to outline how the administration will implement the maintenance part of those machines and so forth. We also expect the president to talk about the fight against corruption. That is one key aspect that I think the president will also have to spend a couple of minutes, maybe five or above, looking at the number of investigations that are ongoing and cases that are also on from the LACC to the court hall. We expect the president to tell us more about his administration target in making sure that corruption is well targeted. Oh, okay. He has a wrath?
No, that is the vice president.
Oh,
That
yeah,
is
yeah. The vice president
President, the
has to be
Honorable
there.
Jeremiah
Yeah, so
Pound
just in
has
summary,
just arrived.
yes, so just in summary, I'm expecting the president to talk more about the justice system, the the infrastructure, his government plan, what we should expect in 2026. He has to tell us. We don't have to be predicting. He has to tell us what are some of those things that we should expect in 2026 and beyond. So yes.
All right. So
and
yeah,
and
Rosemary,
and
go ahead.
and us, I'm here to represent the young people.
Mhm.
So I want to listen to what has his government done with the issue of drug abuse over the past year, and what is going to do this coming year. We want to know about that. We also want to I want him to address the unemployment situation in the country amongst the youth. So these are what I am expecting from him here, representing the young people.
Okay.
Most especially
the representative of the young people. And
most especially the drug abuse
yeah,
issue.
and another thing Liberians, young, old, middle-aged, are all concerned about is job creation.
Right.
Job creation, job creation, job
Yes,
creation.
we
job
want to
creation,
know.
job
We
creation.
want to know about it.
Economic empowerment. The president, when he spoke during the first State of the Nation address, laid out a very dejected state of our nation,
Mhm.
where he said it's not what it ought to be.
Mhm.
And this rescue government talked about, economic empowerment
Right.
and the rest.
They talk
So
about
Liberians are
all of
keen,
those things. We want to
is
know.
this the third state of the nation,
Mhm.
second year in power?
Right.
So what has his administration done in terms of creating an enabling environment, not just
Yes.
public sector jobs to say, okay, we send people to
people to-
ministries and agencies, and we
mhm.
created more agencies and ministries.
Or probably maybe those what was the job that Labor had? The
Or
vacation thing.
the vacation job.
Yeah,
and the
we're not talking
internship
about
and all
that.
of
We're talking
We
about
talk
something
meaningful
sustainable.
impact. Yes.
Yes.
So we'll be looking on what the
Yes, so
concerning creating an enabling environment. How they have. I know they will talk about how they've positioned Liberia diplomatically, our image as a country.
Mhm.
The seat on the United Nations Security Council, the non-permanent seats, and all of that. But at the end of the day, Liberians are talking about jobs, jobs, jobs,
Right.
and jobs. How can we also have a say in our economy? Not capital flight, where the economy is run by foreigners and they take all of the cash away. So what is he going to say?
We just want to know how far is their rest agenda. We just want to know the progress.
Okay.
So-
James, you want to say something while we bring images from Capitol Hill? I see beautiful cultural performances happening. The
all right,
vice president.
so what you are saying, right? Liberia, we don't have a system right now. I think Ghana has, and countries on this part of the world also have. That is, you are able to project, or you are able to see in real time the number of jobs being created. Currently, we don't have that system. And I think that's one thing that the broadcast administration has to do, to be able to, set up a system where Liberians will see or learn about the job creation in real time. So what we get from government always, it's just about I created this, but there is no specific statistic to point
Right.
to.
That we can
We
track
don't.
it.
Yeah, we don't have the system in Liberia right now. So my recommendation to this government would be let the Ministry of Labor be able to. They have many young people who are good in these, places. They can
Right.
set these people out so that they will be able to go to places, go to Spoon, go to other places. Know how many people are employed. You can get it maybe in 6 months time.
Okay,
You
so
can
we
get
want
this
to join the
entire
broadcast
thing
now.
set up.
See, legislators are gathering, so we join the live feed and we will continue with our pre-Sona analysis here on the Spoon Network.
What can you do to detoxicate your mind? That can only be done through rehab centers. So maybe the president will talk about efforts we made in terms of plans this year to, for example, establish more rehab centers so that whenever our young people are home, when they are taken from the streets, they are taken there. Their minds are rehabilitated with skills development. Maybe it could be tailoring.
So man, I want to hold you there again because the chief of protocol had just announced that we said earlier the arrival of the vice president and the second lady, and we can see he's been received by members of the Liberian Senate as he gets ready to listen to the Excellency President Joseph Numa third annual address to the legislature. Yes, ma'am, let me hear from you before we go to the minister.
I think we've seen towards the fight against drugs. I wouldn't say. I think we should commend the guys at the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, the interim management team, to continue because sometimes complacency has a way of setting in. But I think we're making progress. I think they are very vigilant. And one of the things that I really appreciate from them is that they're taking decisions against themselves. Some of the decisions against their own agents of the LDA, especially when they get caught up in any kind of controversy with regards to the fight against drugs. They take decisions. They're dismissing LDA officers. They are suspending them. So the fight is on. Progress is being made. I don't think the progress will be eroded because the president himself is interested in ensuring that no young man gets intoxicated or is damaged or future is damaged as a result of drugs.
The president will report annually to the nation, specifically on the fourth working Monday in January, presenting the legislative agenda and his report to the public. The president must appear before the legislature every year. His appearance must occur on the fourth working Monday in January, and during this appearance, the president presents the administration legislative program, the upcoming year, report on the state of the nation, including the economy, the finances of the republic, the general affairs of the government. So the purpose is to ensure transparency and accountability, provide the legislature and the public with a yearly national progress report, forms the constitution of the state of the nation. Let's rejoin the action there at the Capitol. The senators have arrived and taken their seats. The representatives have arrived. You see the judiciary is also present. From
Mr. Sono, what do we expect to see or hear from the presidency in terms of substance abuse, the fight against illicit substances in our country in Pre-Sona today?
Well, the president has made known his intention to, if not eradicate but mitigate the use of drugs and other dangerous substances among Liberian youth. He's made his intention known from day one, declared the subject as a matter of national emergency, and subjected himself to the drug test, and other official government has also taken that drug test. You see, the fight against drug, how robust it has become over the last couple of maybe months, if not years. Those are good indications that the government is committed, the government is focused, the government is concerned about it. What do I expect a year today? I expect the president to reinforce that commitment as part of his agenda for the country. because everything we do here, we are looking up to future generations to take us from where we are. If you have a situation where the next generation of leaders, the future of those leaders have been jeopardized by drug, then you have to take it seriously, and I think that's exactly what the government has done. There are other private actors that are playing effective role in the rehabilitation of young people, because they're thinking about drug. I mean, you need multi-dimensional approach. The government is dealing with the importers. The government is dealing with the traffickers. The government is dealing with people who are involved into the sale and distribution of drugs. But rehabilitation remains a challenge for us. And I think the multi-sectoral task force on drug and substance have done a brilliant piece of job. The other day, they have formulated a roadmap as to how Liberia is going to proceed moving forward on countering the use of drugs and dangerous substances among young people. It's a global. I think it's a global problem. Today, you look. Part of the reason why the justification that President Trump gives for targeting the former Venezuelan leader, because they were using their country, the route, the proximity to import drugs into America. It's a global crisis. It's a global crisis, and we as a country on this side of the world, we have to take it seriously. Do what is in the limit of our means to have it properly done, so that we can protect the future of our young people. Because if they are vulnerable, like I've mentioned about the 100 million worth of jobs, something that has never happened in our country before.
Okay,
And everything you see here now, it's just a spillover effect.
Capital as we await the arrival of the president of the Liberia, President Waika, 4 p.m. He will be addressing the nation, our legislators, as ensured at the debate of the Constitution of Liberia. So yes, Rosemary, as we're talking about the issue of drugs,
Yes.
that's paramount. We listen to
In as
Daniel
much
Sproul,
as
Deputy
we have
Minister of Information, saying that rehabilitation is a problem.
problem, in as much as we have to go into the ghettos, trying to get people to use and get drugs, but what becomes of the youth, who are being affected by this. If you go right here, Kingsbury, area, it's
Rose,
a
I'm
lot.
coming 1 minute.
You have 100
Damo,
of them, just like
you guys are a little bit not okay.
and then after rehabilitation, and it's just being we're just releasing. We're gonna go right back. We don't have anything after rehabilitation. So rehabilitation is the other agenda when we're talking about drugs and substance. So we cannot just be these people in the streets just by themselves. Because one way or the other, they're still going to find a way to they're going to find a way to bring their drugs back. So what are we doing already? About rehabilitation. Is yes, that's something I'm looking for.
All right. We will work on this.
On drugs has done a brilliant piece of work in that regard.
And Minister, as individual institutions and entities, we've seen over the past 24 months, progress being made at various institutions, beginning with the Ministry of Labor. We saw the issue of work permit was always a problem. The minister have been able to achieve the issue of increasing work permit for non-Liberians who want to work in Liberia. We also saw the incoming of buses by the NTA as well as the progress. We've seen progress made from the Minister of Public Works and the development group work with the issue of roads. We've seen the president always talk about electricity. The last time one of the programs we called out the electricity, the NEC was for making sure that electricity is stable. A lot of different institutions and entities are but of course BCAT as well. The Charles Bayon press, I was watching the BCAT press conference yesterday, the press same time, so we here as well. What do we look forward to see? What kind of cabinet meetings do we expect to see in 2026?
Say that again.
What kind of cabinet meetings do we expect to see in 2026?
Cabinet meeting?
Yes.
I think the president had cabinet meeting very frequently because there are issues to address. So we expect to see the cabinet meet more frequently.
I just listed some of the progress that most of the institutions have made over the past one year or so.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, how enforced do we expect to see those cabinet meetings in 2026?
Of course, based on the president agenda you're going to lay before the legislature today, which will also require that the cabinet be involved. They're going to be involved more frequently. The president had cabinet meeting on various subject matters. The last one being on job creation, right? Job creation was specifically highlighted on that agenda because the president attaches key priority to the plight of the young people in the country. We can build all the infrastructure, but if the young people do not have jobs, they are the most vulnerable part of our population. They are the ones who are susceptible to recycling politicians. So the president wants to give the young people a future, and that's why he's concerned about it. So there's also presentation at cabinet on the energy sector. Of course, the Ministry of Labor is not exempted. So the reduction or the increment in the work permit for foreigners is a window that is meant to raise the bar and not make it more cheaper for foreigners to exploit. But yeah, it's a low hanging fruit, right? But I think we, as a government, we want to do more than just that, right? We want to do more than just that because don't forget, the government has a development plan that focuses on agriculture, road, energy, tourism, sanitation. They make up the rest agenda, right? So the reason why agriculture is key because agriculture sector is a vibrant sector, which when properly exploited can become a very productive area for job creation. For example, why are we trying to increase the price of work permit for foreigners, thereby giving Liberian opportunity? We can also make huge investment in agriculture. The local farmers, you look on the market right now.
Good afternoon, Honorable Richard Nangbeku,
the Sergeant Army calling the session to order.
Legislature of the Republic of Liberia.
So have a joint
His Excellency,
as we
Honorable
get ready
Jeremiah
for this
Banku,
important
Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, and President of the Liberian Senate,
I've been there with my colleagues.
Honorable Yombi Kanga Lawrence,
We'll leave the studio now and join
Senate
the
Pro Tempore of the Liberian Senate,
will take place.
Honorable Thomas Pre-Sona, Deputy Speaker of the 55th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia, my distinguished honorable members of the 55th Legislature, I have the honor at this time to announce to you the Pre-Sona of the 4th Joint Section of the Honorable House of Representatives and that of the 55th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia. Honorable Speaker, and now therefore, this 4th Joint Section is hereby called to order and is hereby so ordered.
Thank you. Distinguished and esteemed honorable members of the 55th Legislature, in fulfillment of Article 58 of the Liberian Constitution, we have gathered here today and at this hour for the sole purpose of receiving the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Newman Brecker Sr., to deliver his State of the Nation address. As presiding, I will now entertain a motion for the 55th Legislature of the Republic of Liberia to resolve into a joint legislative section for the sole purpose of executing the responsibility of His Excellency Honorable Joseph Newman Brecker. I will now recognize the Right Honorable Nyan Flomo of Electoral District number 2, Nima County, to proffer the motion.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Vice President,
Honorable Pro Tem, Honorable Deputy Speaker, our distinguished colleagues of the 55th Liberian Legislature, I, Honorable Yan G. Flomo of Nima County Electoral District 2, move, if I can obtain a second, that the legislature convene in a joint session for the sole and singular purpose of receiving the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Newman Boakai Sr., to deliver the State of the Nation address in keeping with Article 58 of the Liberian Constitution.
Thank you. And this motion will be acknowledged and seconded by the Right Honorable Senator Boto Cannon of Babalu County.
I, Boto Cannon, Senator of Babalu County, do hereby second the motion.
Distinguished honorable members, without restating the motion, are you all ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion, make it known by saying yea. Yea. Those against the motion, make it known by saying nay. All those abstain, please make it known by raising your right hand. The yea has it, with the motion to convene in a joint legislative section, put and carry, the legislature now convene in a joint legislative section for the sole purpose of receiving the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Newman Boakai Sr., to deliver his State of the Nation address, and is hereby so ordered. We now call on the Chief Clerk of the House of Representatives to inform us whether we have the legitimate quorum to transact business for today.
Honorable Richard Namwekon, Speaker of the House of Representatives and presiding officer of this joint legislative section, His Excellency Jeremiah Kpankon, President of the Republic, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, and President of the Liberian Senate, Senator Nyomli Kanka Lawrence, President Pro Tempore of the Liberian Senate, Honorable Thomas P. Falla, Deputy Speaker, Honorable House of Representatives, Honorable ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to announce from the records of the Secretary of the Senate and that of mine that there is a quorum for the transaction of this joint legislative section solely intended to receive His Excellency Joseph Newman Boakai Sr., President of the Republic of Liberia, to deliver to the Liberian people his State of the Nation address. I so submit.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, it has been established by the report from the Honorable Chief Clerk that this august body has the quorum for the transaction of business today. We now ask the member of the Joint Committee on Executive of the Legislature, along with the Sergeant at Arms, to proceed at the front of the Capitol building to receive and escort the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Newman Boakai Sr., to the legislative body. So members of the Joint Committee on Executive, along with the Sergeant and other people, proceed to escort His Excellency, the President, before this body.
Now we do see the motorcade of President Joseph Yuma Boakai arriving at the main entrance to the Capitol building. As you are aware, the president does not have a seat in the legislature, so he will be escorted to the podium. He wouldn't even sit. He will then deliver his third State of the Nation address. So the president is being escorted in, and we do see the limousine of the president is rolling into the grounds of the Capitol.
That's right. Hello. 1, 2. I'm pleased at this time to announce to you the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boakai Sr. Right.
Yeah. Huh? You tell him to sit down?
Yeah, you can tell him to sit.
Good evening, please have your seats. Mr. Vice President, Madam First Lady, Mr. Speaker, members of the House of Representatives, Madam Pro Tem, members of the Senate, the Chief Justice, Associate Justices, members of the Judiciary, Madam Dean and members of the Cabinet, Mr. Doyen, members of the Diplomatic Corps, former presidents, former officials of government present, heads and officials of political parties, prelates, members of the religious organization, our international local partners, our traditional leaders, chiefs and elders of the land, fellow Liberians, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Our deep gratitude is to God Almighty, the sustainer and preserver of our nation, for his enduring grace and blessings for the past year and throughout history. We are gathered here in fulfillment of Article 58 of the Liberian Constitution, which requires the President to present an annual message on the state of the Republic, the condition of the economy, and the legislative agenda for the year ahead. This annual message reviews our progress in the second year of this administration and sets forth the priorities in 2026. It reflects our commitment to reform, accountability, and results that improve the life of the Liberian people. Mr. Speaker and honorable members of the legislature, we are painfully reminded again of the last year's arson attack on the Capitol building. This attack on our symbol of democracy has forced us for the second year to meet in this courtyard instead of the historic chamber. The legal process to bring those responsible for this heinous act is still going on. I, however, assure every Liberian that my administration is pursuing this matter with resolve and impartiality, and that anyone found guilty will bear the full weight of the law. I use this time to remind those driven by narrow personal interest that this country is moving forward, not backward. As Winston Churchill once observed, and I quote, "Never yield to the power of the adversary if it contradicts honor." In that spirit, our democracy would not be intimidated, our institutions will not diminish, our commitment to the rule of law and constitutional governance remains unshaken, and the process we continue to make will not be thought of. Honorable members of the legislature, over the past 2 years, my administration worked to tackle inherited challenges, stabilize the economy, and deliver key development milestones. Despite limited resources, we made progress across key sectors, including agriculture, infrastructure, education, health, tourism, and the rule of law, alongside important legislative initiatives. I am pleased to inform you that our country is in a better state than it was a year ago, and the progress of the past 2 years is real. Looking ahead, we will continue implementing the arrest agenda to improve livelihoods, strengthen democratic governance, and enhance Liberia's standing in the world. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam President Pro Tempore of the Senate, members of the legislature, through collaboration and prompt passage of priority legislation, the government aims to strengthen institutions, grow the economy, and improve the well-being of all Liberians. Over the course of the last year, the executive submitted several bills to you for enactment into law. I thank the members of the body for your service and collaboration in passing several crucial bills during the second session of this legislature. Key among those passed and signed into law are the Ministry of Local Government Act to decentralize the government and allow greater participation in decision-making at a local level. The Liberia National Tourism Act to stimulate economic growth by leveraging the nation's natural attractions and cultural heritage, and an act to establish the National Food Assistance Agency, and 9 financing agreements between Liberia and our bilateral and multilateral development partners. While the passage of these laws is commendable, urgent attention must now focus on advancing the pending legislations. Key among these are the Presidential Transaction Act to establish procedures for the transition from one elected government to the next. Our experience shows the need for these procedures to avoid arbitrary practices and conflicting expectations during periods of transition. Also, pending before you are the bills to establish Civil Service Commission and the Third Amendment to the Mineral Development Agreement with ArcelorMittal Holdings, among others. Delays in passing these measures will weaken the reforms needed for economic growth and institutional integrity. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, I have also submitted for amendment to existing anti-corruption laws, including legislation to address illicit enrichment and to remove the existing statute of limitation on corruption cases. In 2026, we will submit additional priority bills, including legislation to establish the National Planning Commission to strengthen development planning and budgeting, and a specialized code for property dispute to reduce the backlog of land cases. We will propose a universal health insurance program and a bill to establish National Road Authority dedicated to road construction and maintenance. We will also submit the revised charter of the University of Liberia to accommodate needed reforms and administrative structures. We will expand Liberia's Agriculture Commodity Regulatory Authority's mandate to enhance output, processing, marketing of quality agricultural commodities. We will also seek an amendment to the executive law to restructure the Ministry of Foreign Affairs so it can better serve citizens and adapt to our evolving international responsibilities. Finally, we will submit bills to repeal outdated People's Redemption Council era decrees that created public institutions that no longer serve today's governance needs. Beyond legislation, my administration issued 16 executive orders to advance governance, economic, social priorities in line with the national development goals. Each action, whether by law or order, was taken for one purpose: the benefit of the Liberian people. We remain dedicated to fostering cooperation among all branches of government through mutual respect, open dialogue, as the Constitution requires. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tem, members of the legislature, fellow Liberians. Last year, we emphasized the economic challenges inherited by this administration, not as an excuse, but to highlight the hurdles faced and the progress achieved. Through disciplined fiscal management, sound policies, and robust partnerships, we began restoring stability and trust. As of 2024, the economy showed resilience with steady growth, declining inflation, stronger reserve, and renewed momentum across key sectors. This progress continued in 2025 With macroeconomic stability and private sector growth, strengthen our commitment to the Liberian people. We are proud to announce that the economy grew by 5.1% in 2025. This exceeds both the 4.6% forecast and the 4.0% growth recorded in 2024. This achievement was driven by significant gains in mining, agriculture, fisheries, and services. Mining expanded by 17% and export rose by 31.5%. Looking ahead, ongoing reforms and infrastructure investment are expected to boost growth to over 5% in 2026, with average growth projected at about 6% from 2026 to 2028. Inflation fell to 4% by December 2025, the lowest in 2 decades, down from 10% when we took over in 2024. These achievements signal effective monetary and fiscal policies coupled with anticipated ease in import costs. Liberia external sector performed well in 2025. Gross international reserve increased from $475 million in 2024 to $576 million, surpassing the previous year by $101 million. Also, net international reserve exceeded IMF targets, potentially reaching $280 million by December 2025, and export grew over 31% to about $2.1 billion. Our medium-term strategic and growth initiative, or Go Purchase program, is expected to further strengthen reserve, enhancing economic resilience. We are proud to report that we met nearly all IMF performance criteria in June 2025, reaffirming our commitment. The IMF external credit facility remains crucial for rebuilding reserves to cover 3.3 months of import by 2027, supported by prudent fiscal measures. Foreign investment in iron ore mining will also boost exports in the current account. Since September 2025, the foreign exchange market has been stable due to good liquidity management, fiscal discipline, and strong export earnings. The Liberian dollar appreciated by at least 3% against the US dollar. We are committed to maintaining currency confidence and stability. To promote financial inclusion, we accelerated Liberia's digital finance revolution, processing over 275,000 transactions, valued at more than 375 million Liberian dollars, or at 2.7 million by December 2025. Our goal is to raise financial inclusion from 52% in 2024 to 70% by 2029. The central bank is rebuilding public trust by strengthening governance and accountability and managing government securities more openly. In 2025, it issued $44.4 million US dollars, rolling over 132.1 million, and 7.6 billion Liberian dollars. And for the first time in decades, the bank recorded consecutive operational surpluses in 2024 and 2025. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the House of Legislature, despite real achievements in 2025, our development program faced one of the toughest tests. An abrupt clash in the donor support during the second quarter disrupted finance for essential social and economic projects. This led to job losses, reduced incomes, and hardship for many families. This government stepped up to it to close funding gap and keep critical services running, but the disruption slowed implementation and stained our plans. Notwithstanding these challenges, we are pleased to report that we weathered the storm by instituting a package of measures that included tighter fiscal control, critical protecting social expenditure in health and education, and significantly enhancing domestic resources mobilization effort. Reaffirmed commitment from donor partners for 2025 amounted to $381 million, including $63 million in direct budget support and $321.5 million for programs and projects. During the year under review, the government concluded 9 financing agreements totaling $334.98 million, including $98.58 million concessional loans and $236.4 million in grants to advance national priorities. These agreements supported investment in infrastructure, human capital development, and natural resource management. Mr. Speaker and honorable members of the House of Representatives and members of the legislature, I informed you last year that our engagement with the United States have positioned Liberia for the Millennium Challenge Cooperation Compact. I am pleased to report that after a review and reassessment by the new U.S. government, Liberia's eligibility for a second MCC compact was reaffirmed in December 2025. The compact development process has begun, focusing on investment in energy and job creation. We extend profound appreciation to our bilateral and multilateral partners, including the United States of America, the European Union, People's Republic of China, the United Kingdom, Japan, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Morocco, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, African Development Bank, the United Nations and its agencies, the African Union and the Economic Community of West African States, and the Mana River Union for their trust, support, and ongoing commitment to Liberia as we strive to restore stability and bring essential relief and opportunities to our people. Last year's external funding cut was a wake-up call. It exposed how vulnerable we become in the race to our security when we rely too much on external support. In my annual message last year, I pledged to strengthen domestic revenue by aligning reforms with regional benchmarks, improving tax compliance, and investing in digital systems, including a modern customs inspection center at the Freeport of Monrovia. We have made real progress on these commitments, and the results are clear. Liberia can finance more than its own development if we put the right policies in place and collect what is due. For fiscal year 2025, we approved a national budget of $880.5 million, funded largely by $804.6 million in domestic revenue. By year end, total revenue reached $885.8 million, exceeding the target by $5.1 million. $847.7 million, surpassing the target by $43.1 million, the highest ever recorded in Liberia. That is an increase of $148 million over 2024, the largest single year gain in our nation's history. Last year, we submitted and you approved a budget of more than $1.2 billion for fiscal year 2026, representing the highest budget in the history of our country. Over the past 2 years, domestic revenue has risen by $235.7 million. This reflects stronger policy choices, improved administration, digitization, and better compliance. I commend the Liberia Revenue Authority and all partner institutions for their professionalism, and I call on the legislature to work with us to sustain these gains and direct every dollar towards results that improve the lives of the Liberian people. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, I am pleased to report that on account of the robust revenue performance for 2025, the fiscal authorities are concluding processes that will lead to submission of a supplemental budget to the legislature next month, the first in many years. As of the end of November 2025, government spending totaled $709.7 million, including both recurrent and capital spending. Spending on roads accounted for a major share of our capital expenditure. Public debt stood at $2.8 billion as at the end of December 2025. Domestic debt, mainly owed to the central bank and commercial bank, was $1.2 billion. External debt, largely to the World Bank and to the African Development Bank, was $1.6 billion. Despite fiscal pressure, the government remained largely current on its debt commitments, paying $120.1 million in debt service to both domestic and external creditors in 2025. We will continue prudent debt management and fiscal discipline. To strengthen the economy and address fiscal constraints, my administration has introduced major financial management reform to boost revenue, enacted the tax expenditure bill, tighten exemption controls, and are preparing to implement a value-added tax system by 2027. To support fiscal year 2026 $1.2 billion budget, we will expand the tax base by cracking down on evasion, updating tax rules, raising the goods tax by a modest 1%, and revising excise taxes. The government has strategically leveraged opportunities to attract credible investment and responsibly exploit natural resources for the benefit of Liberians. In 2025, the government signed key agreements to boost economic growth, infrastructure, and employment, including concession and access agreement with the Ivanhoe for the Yekepa-Bukena Rail Corridor, and amended deal with ArcelorMittal Liberia. Together, these represent approximately $4 billion in committed investments. The government has commenced the process of reactivating the Puto iron ore mine. That will boost job creation and accelerate development in Grand Direct County in the southeastern region. In the hydrocarbon sector, the government signed 8 new petroleum agreements, 4 with Total Energies and 4 with Ranto Petroleum. Mr. Speaker, the honorable members of the legislature, despite ongoing global supply pressure, our actions have helped lower the cost of essential goods. Prices have eased for rice, flour, and fuel, relief that families can feel in their daily lives. For instance, 25 kilogram bag of Indian parboiled rice now retails at $14.50. And flowers have dropped from 35 to 35 US dollars per 100-pound bag. Fuel has stabilized at $4 per gallon, helping to reduce transport costs. We strengthened supply and quality by completing a 17,000 cubic meter fuel storage tank and a modern testing laboratory at the Liberia Petroleum Refinery Company, thereby improving storage capacity, fuel standard, and national energy security. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I commend the Vice President and the Price Committee for acting to prevent unjustified price increases that harm our people. Let me be clear. Business that exploits consumers will be held accountable. Job creation remains the top priority for my administration. Our job creation strategy has focused on addressing the binding and structural constraints to growth, including investment in roads, energy. In this connection, we have created more than 70,000 short and medium-term jobs across the infrastructure, agriculture, social protection, and small businesses, among other sectors. Going forward, the Youth Entrepreneurship and Investment Bank project launched in 2025 will support 30,000 youth-led businesses, creating over 120,000 direct and indirect jobs for the youth. The National Employment Acceleration Strategy focused on agriculture, public works, skill training, and support to small enterprises has been finalized. This will facilitate more Liberians to earn decent livelihood with dignity. Honorable members of the legislature, on January 15, 2025, the Liberian government launched the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development 2025 to 2029 and the 15th County Development Agenda in Buchanan-Grand-Bassa County. These initiatives reaffirm the country's commitment to Vision 2030, focusing on delivering measurable results through decisive implementations. The current budget allocates $290 million for capital investment in public sector investment projects, making this one of the largest recent government programs. The Arrest Agenda aims to diversify Liberia's economy beyond extraction and boost productivity through more than 370 interventions across sectors like agriculture, infrastructure, energy, tourism, governance, education, health, and sanitation, targeting annual growth above 5%. The broader goal will include raising GDP per capita above $1,050 by 2029, reducing the trade deficit and lowering poverty risk. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tempore, and members of the legislature, I am pleased to report today that we have made substantial progress across key sectors, including agriculture, the heart of the arrest agenda for inclusive development, and the driver of job creation, food security, and growth. In 2025, over 198,000 farmers received government support, leading to expanded rice and cocoa cultivation and increased agriculture output. Infrastructure improvement, including the completion of 166 kilometers of feeder road, have reduced transport costs and enhanced market access, resulting in 33,755 Liberians moving from food insecurity to food security. In 2026, we will prioritize agribusiness, scaling rice production, expanding mechanization, operationalizing the One County, One Priority Commodity Program, and improving sector financing through new banking legislation. Additionally, the introduction of Liberia first fiberglass semi-industrial fishing vessel, the Sea King, marks a milestone in boosting domestic fish production and food security. The government encourages private sector investor engagement to drive inclusive agriculture growth. Mr. Speaker and members of the legislature, nearly 3 years ago, I assured the nation that roads will be our focus, not as a slogan, but rather the commitment to connecting communities with opportunities. In furtherance of our commitment, we focus on restoring key corridors and expanding secondary roads. We increased Liberia's paved roads from under 12% to 20% and maintained more than 780 kilometers of major roads, ensuring year-round access. Connectivity improved between Burraville and Buffalo, Salaye and Medicoma, Tapita and Zedru, as well as Buchanan and Greenville, reducing costs and easing hardship for citizens. Key roads like Ganta, Sakripe now 56%, Sakripe Tapita up to 92% have advanced, while Kiripo Fishtown route is now fully paved. Additional projects, including the Buchanan Green Bay Highway, are in the pipeline, thanks to partner support from African Development Bank, World Bank, and others. Efforts will be made to Vahu more accessible to the rest of the country via road. The Army Corps of Engineers will play a role in delivering this initiative. In our ongoing commitment to maintain road access for our citizens, I am pleased to announce that the widely discussed 285 yellow machines procured by government last year are currently in shipped. These assets will be situated at the county hubs and used to support road maintenance efforts and form a crucial part of our disaster response preparedness efforts across the country. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, fellow Liberians, we continue to make progress in connecting county capitals and major assets. Although the RIA Road Corridor project faced delays due to ongoing orders and challenges and changes in scope, we are still able to increase the length of the pavement from 20 to 25. With the orders and rescoping nearing completion, full work on this corridor is expected to resume in 2026. The Private Port Concession Agreement, which is designed to promote public-private partnership in road development, had been signed following your approval. Covered under this agreement are the St. Paul Bridge to Bow Waterside, Medina to Robertsport, and Medicoma to Vonima corridors. Construction on this project is scheduled to begin next month with a groundbreaking ceremony. Urban improvement on alleyways, drainages, and lighting in communities such as Cinco, Byton, and Carware, the Japan Freeway, and Marshall are ongoing, improving access and security for communities. Work on the overpass on the Tubman Boulevard has commenced and are set for completion by 2027. The rural areas, 411 kilometers rural roads and 122 kilometers urban roads, have been paved since the administration began. Looking ahead, the goal is to surpass 485 kilometers of paved road by 2029, strengthening national unity. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, electricity is a critical enabler for industrialization and other critical development programs. In 2025, the government, through the Liberia Electricity Corporation, focused on stabilizing this energy sector and expanding access as part of the ARREST agenda and our National Energy Compact. Over 83,000 new connections were established, covering communities in Montserrat and electrify 124 villages in Grand Bassa, Riverside, Bone, and Nimba. Through these initiatives, 17,000 households have access to power for their first time. Electricity tariffs have been cut to ease household costs, positioning energy as a driver for growth. Through the Rural and Renewable Energy Agency, we use solar power to provide electricity for 88 clinics across 14 counties in rural regions. Upper, Barclay, Carinkian, Zozo cities have each benefited with 173 street lights as part of the lighting of rural communities. We have installed 3,791 street lights through the CLSG Rural Electrification Program, benefiting over 124 towns and villages in Nimba, Grand Bassa, and Riverside, and Bond County. The program also provided electricity to 2 universities, ABC and Cottington, 2 hospitals, Riverside District and Mother of Light Rehab, and is strengthening the cross-border grid in Nimba, Bong, and Margibi counties. Mount Coffee Hydro Power remained reliable. Outages decreased. Electricity sales rose by 24%. Revenue topped $71 million, and collection efficiency reached 94%. Further investment in reforms of LEC will aim at addressing inefficiencies, stabilizing the utility in ensuring reliable service. In 2026, we plan to have 100,000 new connections, deploy advanced transmission lines and smart meters, reduce system losses by 35%, with more improvements ahead. Major projects underway include 250 megawatt gas to power plant, the 200 megawatt solar plant and storage, and a new hydropower project on the St. John River alongside existing solar, thermal, and hydropower capacity totaling 700 megawatts. Through our digital initiative, we created a new ICT strategic action plan to modernize the national telecom framework, and half of the government agencies have transitioned to unified ICT system. By November 2025, 56% of these entities had fiber optic networks installed, and 80% of the critical ICT infrastructure was secured with cyber security measures. Digital finance advanced with mobile money use rising from 46% to 58% in 2025. The Central Bank launched the Inclusive Instant Payment System, enabling real-time transactions and cross-border payment across Africa. Mobile network coverage expanded into underserved areas, improving access and participation in digital economy. The National Port Authority remains a critical gateway to Liberia's economy. Following my visit to Morocco last November, the Moroccan Port Development Entity agreed to invest in equipment and logistics for the Port of Monrovia, breaking the long-standing monopoly and boosting competition. Master plan for the Port of Monrovia and Buchanan have been developed. Tariff reforms are driving revenue growth. Further upgrades will include dredging the Port of Monrovia for larger ships, easing congestion, reducing costs, and introducing 24-hour operation. Rabat International Airport, significant upgrades were completed, including the reopening of taxiway Bravo, rehabilitation of the apron and the jet bridge, and installation of a new navigational aids. These improvements were finalized ahead of the Turkish airline inaugural flight on May 11, 2026, representing a major advancement for the Liberian aviation. Additional, an agreement had been assured with the South Korea-made group to develop a ship recycling center and establish private-public partnership domestic airline in Liberia with an initial fleet of 3 aircraft. Mr. Speaker, the honorable members of the legislature, public transport is a vital service that every Liberian deserves. The National Transport Authority has long faced neglect with deteriorated infrastructure and unchecked corruption. We are changing that. Last year, we procured 64 buses, now deployed and serving Liberians nationwide. We also broke ground for a modern NTA headquarters, a step that will enhance service delivery and transform public transportation in our country. Since 1948, Liberia's maritime program has been central to our economy and global standing, featuring the world's largest open ship registry and skilled mariners. Recent modernization initiatives in the sector include domestic watercraft monitoring program with AIS, the first in decades, and vessel monitoring system technology for enhanced safety. Also, our re-election to the International Maritime Organization Category A reaffirmed Liberia's leadership in maritime governance. Education is fundamental to Liberia's renewal and growth in human capital. In furtherance of the unified data-driven reform adopted in 2024, access to quality learning for all children has been guaranteed. Teachers' dignity was restored by removing over 1,000 good names from the payroll. Consequently, over 2,000 qualified volunteer teachers were hired across all counties. Through the 88.7 million Excel project supported by the World Bank and the Global Partnership for Education, we prioritize literacy and numeracy from grades 1 to 3, ensuring basic skills at the third grade. Our national digital learning platform now reaches remote villages with multimedia lessons, including sign language support. Also, 156 schools have been equipped with computer labs, and nearly 300 teachers have received technology training. Still under education, we improve the learning environment by supplying over 26,000 desks and chairs through the One Child, One Chair initiative. We also invested in building model schools in Bunk, Margibi, Nimba counties, in addition to renovating 40 schools and distributing 22,000 STEM kits. Through partnership with Tuskegee University and Booker Washington Institute, young Liberians will have the opportunity to further technical training in a host of vocations. Our national school feeding programs supported more than 239,000 students. Transparency and governance improved with the annual school census covering 6,394 schools after a 4-year pause. The launch of a digital school pyramid platform and expanded scholarship with local recipients increasing from 378 to 1,000, while all arrears for 210 students abroad were settled. Funds were also allocated to renovate the University of Liberia and public schools to address congestion and improve facilities. To further demonstrate our commitment to education, funds were provided for the renovation of the University of Liberia and several public schools across the country. This intervention will address the long-standing post-Civil War problem of congestion. Last year, the health sector saw significant improvement. Maternal death dropped nationwide. Immunization coverage for children under 1 reached 88%, and medicine stock out decreased from 95 to 5%. We thank Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, for strengthening Liberia's immunization program. With their support, Liberia has expanded vaccine access and improve public health while meeting all co-financing commitments for the first time in 10 years. We recorded significant progress in addressing infrastructure constraints confronting the sector. Reconstruction work on the C.H. Rennie facility in Margibi County is underway at a new Calcutta location, where it will now include a midwifery school. Construction work on the neuropsychiatric hospital in Bensonville is now 75%, while work on the regional diagnostic center in Bond County is 85%. To support the continued delivery of quality services in the sector, a new midwifery training program has been initiated at Bumming Community College and budget allocated for a smooth operation of the ERWA hospital. Data is vital for planning and response. So the government set up a National Health Intelligence Center to improve data-driven decision-making. The system has demonstrated effectiveness as recent data indicate that tuberculosis notification rose by 7.5% over the past year, while incident and mortality decreased by 28% and 49% respectively. Our efforts against drug abuse intensified with the launch of the Liberia First National Anti-Drug Plan, providing strategic roadmap to reduce both demand and supply of illicit drugs. By close of the year, over 800 at-risk youth were enrolled in recovery programs. Mr. Speaker, the honorable members of the legislature, poor sanitation and limited access to clean water have long threatened public health, especially in urban areas like Monrovia, where 42% of the citizens lack basic sanitation facilities. In 2025, we completed the Buffalo Water System, commenced new water supply projects in Greenville and Plebo, and began the rehabilitation and expansion of the Shredru water supply system. These projects are set to benefit over 43,000 persons. The 48-inch White Plain to Monrovia pipeline project is nearing its first phase of completion. Plans are underway for the remainder of the project, which is expected to benefit over 1 million residents in Montserrat County. Years of conflict left many Liberians vulnerable. In response, the government expanded social protection program to ensure fair opportunity for all citizens. In 2025, the Save the Future project integrated more than 8,000 street children into safe environments and enrolled over 2,700 out-of-school children. Over the past 2 years, around 13,500 children were reunited with their families. About 4,000 of these have returned to school, while over 3,700 caregivers gained support through grant training and family programs. Thanks to the philanthropic support, we have received 5 containers filled with various materials such as clothing, shoes for children. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection is collaborating with the Ministry of Education to make sure these items are delivered to school-age children across the country. Under the Realize project, the government provided income support through cash transfers to over 15,000 poor households, delivering over $1 billion Liberian dollars to help them cover basic household needs. The Liberia Women Empowerment Project also reached 3,300 women with income support and is expanding to benefit over 32,000 more women across several counties. These efforts promote economic opportunities and household welfare. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, fellow Liberians, young people who make up over half of the population are Liberia's greatest asset. This year, we advanced youth deployment by launching the National Youth Policy 2025 to 2030 and the Youth, Peace, and Security Action Plan. We increased job, skill building, and livelihood opportunities for vulnerable youth and women. Through the Realize project, more than 15,000 young people receive support for income generation and training, and over 1,400 youth completed technical and vocational programs. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of the legislature, ladies and gentlemen, sports unite people and foster discipline, teamwork, and national pride. To support this, the government and the Bee Mountain Mining Corporation are launching football academies in both Bon and Montserrat counties, creating direct routes to the national team and encouraging professionalism and growth in Liberia's sports sector. We prioritize at-risk youth with drug prevention and rehabilitation and upgraded the Youth Agriculture Training Center. Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, providing adequate housing remains a priority. Many Liberians live in overcrowded, insecure conditions. To address this, the National Housing Authority will begin building 600 social housing units across 6 counties in February this year. Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, Liberia's long-standing governance challenges have contributed to weakening our institutions and decline in public trust. My administration is committed to restoring confidence through the strengthening integrity, accountability, and transparency. A step in this direction is a requirement for heads of institutions to sign performance contracts and comply clearly with defined standards under our new established performance management and compliance system. Working with the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, we secured 11 indictments, obtained 2 convictions, and had 1 acquittal. 4 prosecutions are ongoing. Meanwhile, we enforce administrative measures by suspending or dismissing officials involved in misconduct. Additionally, we have strengthened asset declaration rules and introduced ethics textbook in schools. The General Auditing Commission made major strides, completing 94 out of 105 audits. This includes the domestic debt audit from 2018 to 2023, which rejected over 704 million US in unsupported claims. For this first time, a system audit of the House of Representatives for 2021 to 2024 was conducted with a report expected in March 2026. Compliance with audit recommendation rose from 13% in 2024 to 37% in 2025. And we keep working with the legislature to ensure the General Auditing Commission can fully carry out its constitutional duty to protect public interest. My government is advancing legal reforms to make e-procurement the standard and to promote fair, inclusive participation. In 2025, the Public Procurement and Concession Commission moved Liberia's procurement system forward by expanding electronic procurement and strengthening oversight in over 50 public entities. These steps with tightened controls, reduce waste, and support the arrest agenda for inclusive development. In 2025, justice and security were strengthening by expanding access to justice, improving criminal prosecution, and upgrading correctional and judicial facilities. Logistical support to key law enforcement agencies was enhanced. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency seized nearly 10 metric tons of illicit drugs and arrested over 550 suspects, while the immigration sector enhanced border security and migration process. The Liberia National Fire Service boosted emergency response with more than 10 new fire engines and over firefighting equipment. These initiatives have increased public trust in the justice and security system compared to pre-2024 levels. To address congestion at the Edward Kesali Military Barracks, we renovated the Camp Jones Military Barracks in Margibi and Camp Grant Military Barracks in Nimba County. This has accommodated the relocation of over 600 soldiers, improving living conditions for our military families. During the year under review, we made significant progress in improving civil service. We placed more than 3,400 long-serving volunteers in education and health onto the national payroll. To boost morale and productivity, we increased the salaries for over 23,000 frontline workers in health, education, security, and agriculture. We are also strengthening the system for the future. Merit-based hiring is being reinforced through a new civil service testing center, and staff welfare is improving through automated legal services. Finally, we are committed to investing in our employees by offering a 50% salary advance option, expanding long-term loan program, and providing additional training opportunities both at home and abroad. My administration strengthening protection by enforcing key environmental biodiversity laws, updating climate commitments, improving access to climate finance, including the establishment of the Climate Carbon Market Authority. Additionally, we took steps to further conserve our treasured flora and fauna by initiating the process of clearing the Sapo National Park of intruders to open it for tourism and attractions. We also established a modern environmental laboratory, ratified the biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction, agreement and decentralized environmental governance. Liberia remains committed to responsible stewardship, ensuring that environmental protection, economic growth, and prosperity advance together for this generation and the next. Honorable members of the legislature, land governance remains a persistent challenge that affects livelihood, food security, culture, the economy, development, and climate change. Poor management has led to land grabs, dispute, and social conflict. In 2024, we imposed a moratorium on the public land sales to prevent speculative land grabs. It was lifted only after establishing clear guidelines and a standardized national deeding system in 2025. These measures now ensure full land allocation is fair, transparent, and accountable. In 2025, the government continued decentralization effort by deploying counter-service center coordinators across all 15 counties and serving over 32,000 citizens and boosting local revenue generation. County development planning units and treasury assessment strengthening fiscal management. A comprehensive review led to the reclassification of cities based on legal criteria. To promote participatory governance, more than 1,800 traditional leaders were appointed, and the National Assembly of Chiefs was convened in 2025 in Bang County in November 2025. Lastly, the government was advanced institutional reform by passing the act establishing the Ministry of Local Government, a major effort in advancing decentralization. To bring services closer to citizens, fast food centers were opened in Ganjire and Bang counties, making it easier for people to access identification documents locally. Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, my foreign policy is guided by a firm commitment to international systems grounded in the United Nations multilateralism and international law. I believe these are vital for global cooperation and peaceful conflict resolution. In 2025, we worked to restore Liberia's international credibility and reestablish it as a respected member of the global community. Our foreign policy now prioritizes national interest, integrity, and resolve, focusing on tangible benefits to Liberia and strengthening our country's standing. Liberia's election to a non-permanent United Nations Security Council seat for 2026-2027, with 181 out of 193 votes in the General Assembly vote, demonstrate renewed global confidence in our leadership. This historic achievement raises Liberia's profile and enables us to contribute to international peace with emphasis on women, youth, climate, stability in our region. Liberia continues to play leading roles in ECOWAS, the Mano River Union, and African Union. We have also deepened our bilateral relations with the United States of America, evidenced by extending B1, B2 visa validity for Liberians from 12 to 36 months and launching a $124 million health partnership. In the past year, Liberia strengthened ties with France, Serbia, Morocco, China, Barbados, Bahamas, UAE, Rwanda, Mana River Union, ECOWAS, African Union, and European Union. Economic diplomacy is now clear priority. We are shifting from aid dependent to trade and investment. We have engaged over 50 foreign and diaspora investors in priority sectors, agriculture, energy, and infrastructure. Honorable members of the legislature, Liberia's progress in 2025 reflects renewed international credibility. As we take our seat on the UN Security Council and strengthen regional leadership, this administration will pursue a foreign policy that promotes peace, prosperity, inclusion, and national pride. Liberia is also set to strengthen its global standing by hosting international meetings. To this end, we have undertaken the construction of the Mana River Union Presidential Center for Regional Peace, development in Foya, Lupa County. The facility is fully owned by the Liberian government and includes a 500-seat conference hall and secure accommodation villas for visiting dignitaries. We are also pleased to acknowledge the invaluable contribution of the Angie Brooks Women's Center Situation Room in the promotion of peace and democracy. It is also commendable that the United Nations Security Council has recognized them as an exemplary mechanism for monitoring potential hotspots, incidents involving violence, harassment, and intimidation. The Mana River Union Presidential Center will serve as a significant resource for their efforts in the future. Mr. Speaker, members of the legislature, the Liberian diaspora is not just our family abroad. They're a vital national asset, bringing skills, capital, and pride to Liberia's development. In 2024, we pledge to strengthen diaspora engagement, and I am pleased to report real progress. The inaugural Liberia Diaspora Conference in Washington, D.C. led to clear recommendations, including the establishment of a diaspora commission. We will soon bring this proposal to the legislature. Across the country, diaspora entrepreneurs and professionals are returning to invest in infrastructure, agriculture, health, education, and technology. Many are also building homes and launching new enterprises. We recognize these efforts through the Year of Return program. I must also stress that we are appalled by the distressing losses suffered by members of the diaspora community in various housing projects, including the Millennium Estate housing project. We will continue to work with all parties to ensure justice for those impacted. Mr. Speaker, the honorable members of the legislature, a nation that refuses to reconcile hinders its own progress and remains bound to the weight of the past. As such, reconciliation is essential for our growth as the nation's progress in healing and growth for future generations. My administration has taken meaningful steps, including implementing Truth and Reconciliation Commission recommendations. Last year, we reburied former President William R. Tolbert Jr. and Samuel K. Doe Sr. with dignity and respect, and we formally apologize on behalf of the Liberian state for its role in the conflict. These actions were necessary steps towards healing, acknowledgement, and national closure. We are considering Reconciliation Commission and have established the Office of the War and Economic Crimes Court, which has completed draft laws for your review. Reconciliation, however, does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean abandoning justice. True reconciliation must include justice to ensure peace for Liberia. Mr. Speaker and members of the legislature, in my address to the honorable body last year, I extended a hand across the political divide to call on compatriots in the opposition and others to join us in building an inclusive government. Today, I want to renew that call. During the year-end review, the nation mourned the loss of several prominent citizens. Among these were Judge Lavinia V. Ashton, former probate court judge, former dean of the Louis Otto Grant School of Law, Honorable Dr. Emilia Angeline Hope Ward, former Minister of Planning and Economic Affairs, Nimba County Senator Prince Yomi Johnson, Honorable George Musu Freeman Sumo, former Senior Senator from Montserrat, Honorable Ambassador James T. Toppin, former Liberian Ambassador, Federal Republic of Nigeria, former Ambassador to the Republic of Benin and Republic of Togo. Honorable Dr. El Mohamed Sharif, former Vice Chair of the Council of State, Liberia National Transition Government, Madam Nancy Bondo, former First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Sylvester M. Grigsby, Minister of State for Presidential Affairs and Chief of Staff to the President, Republic of Liberia, Professor Florence Serena Blyden, former Professor, University of Liberia, and a host of others. A fuller list will be published. Mr. Vice President, Madam First Lady, Mr. Speaker, Madam Pro Tem, and members of the legislation, Mr. Chief Justice, Associate Justices, and members of the Judiciary, Madam Dean, and members of the Cabinet. In conclusion, I invite us to pause for a final moment of truth, guided always by supreme interests of our country. Beyond the progress we celebrate today, there remain unresolved matters that continue to weigh on the national conscience, affect our dignity, and demand decisive action. Accordingly, I will take the following steps without delay. First, I will ensure that we continue to comprehensively review our concession framework to correct historic inequities in the extraction and management of our national wealth, and to ensure that Liberia and its people receive fair and lasting benefits. Second, I will take immediate action to resolve the long-standing issue of relocating Palm Grove Cemetery, where the remains of our former president and other This is the mother of national honor, historical responsibility, respect for those who serve our republic. Third, I will act to rehabilitate the decaying public buildings in Monrovia and across the country, restoring dignity to public service, safeguarding national assets for future generations. Fourth, I will initiate the process of laying out the major cities throughout Liberia, consistent with recent decentralization initiative and in accordance with the newly enacted zoning law of Liberia. Fellow Liberians, we began the journey together with a firm belief that Liberia's potentials are unlimited. That belief remains unshaken. Over the past year, we have deliberately built on the progress already made, strengthening confidence and restoring hope that the promise of the nation can indeed be unlocked for the benefit of all. After another year of service, we can say with confidence that the state of the nation is stronger than we last 2 years. The gains we have recorded are not an end in themselves. They are foundation and clear proof that purposeful leadership anchored in service can deliver results. These achievements affirm our belief that Liberia's best days are ahead of us. Yet, we must not become complacent. As we deepen the implementation of the arrest agenda for inclusive development this year and beyond, we move forward with resolve, courage, clarity of purpose. We are guided by a simple but enduring truth. Leadership is not defined by titles or privilege, but by humility, fidelity to our oath, and honor to the Republic. We are here to serve the Liberian people, not to serve ourselves. If our purpose strays from service, disappointment will follow, and the truth will be unavoidable that we belong elsewhere. Service is the measure of leadership. We stand today at a defining moment between our past and our future. The choices we make now will determine whether we advance or fall behind, whether we honor or betray the hopes entrusted to us. Let us therefore commit together with one heart to move forward and not backward, mindful that what we do today will shape the Liberia of tomorrow. Let us govern, legislate, and judge in the supreme interest of the Liberian people, knowing that history will render its verdict on whether we rose to the moment or changed the course of our nation for better. With faith in God, confidence in our people, and love for country, I ask all of us to think Liberia, love Liberia, get up here. Yes, God bless you.
What happened, Rose? Hello? Hello? Well, folks, the team back there in Monrovia is trying to bring back the live feed from Capitol Hill. Damas Langer and the team are working on bringing us back. So if you just joining us, I want to welcome all of you. Hello, are you hearing me, Rose? Okay, I think they are faced with technical problem. Well, if you're just joining us, we want to welcome you. This is Spoon FM, and you just listened to President Boakai. They're speaking to the Republic of Liberia. This is the third time that the president has addressed the nation. You got a message? It's left with you to Josh. Damo?
Yeah, James, can you hear me? How's the audio now?
Yeah.
It's good?
Yeah, good.
Okay, let me bring on Rose Harry across.
Well, welcome back. Welcome. Is the audio all right?
Yeah, so James, we listened to the president. Once you hearing us, kindly just respond, because earlier we had issues
With the sound. Yeah.
but we will rejoin Capitol Hill. The president has addressed, but the session must be adjourned. The session must be adjourned, and then we will get to.
So this joint legislative session for today. I hereby recognize Senator Nyang Twain Jr. of Nima County to make the motion. Senator, the motion is yours.
Mr. Speaker and Presiding Officer, Mr. President and Vice President of the Senate, Mr. Vice President and President of the Senate, Madam Pro Tem of the Liberian Senate, Honorable Deputy Speaker and distinguished members of the 55th Legislature, having satisfied the requirements of Chapter 6, Article 58 of the 1986 Constitution that requires this legislature or the legislature to convene in a joint session for the purpose of receiving the President's annual message, I move, if I can obtain a second, that this joint legislative session of the 55th Legislature adjourn.
The presiding will hereby recognize the Right Honorable Ellen Ator of Electoral District Number 3, Magibi County, to acknowledge the motion and second it.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Pro Tempore, Honorable Vice President, Honorable Deputy Speaker, distinguished members of the 55th Legislature. Having listened to the motion proffered by the Senator Yang D. Twine from Nema County, I, Honorable Ellen Amaka Ature, from District Number 3, Magibi County, do hereby second the motion for adjournment.
Thank you. Distinguished and esteemed honorable member, it has been moved and seconded that having exhausted the purpose for which the legislature convened in a joint legislative session, the legislative session is hereby adjourned and is hereby so ordered. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
So the session, the joint session, the third Sona presided over by Speaker Richard King. That is his second Sona, but this is the third Sona of President Joseph Yuma Boakai has been dissolved. That joint session has been dissolved, and You do know, according to legislative proceedings and according to status, the speaker presides.
Message by His Excellency.
So that's that. Thank you. The rest of the panels will join for post-Sona analysis prior to Spoon Talk. But Rosemary, you listened. James Samuel Gude Flomo, you listened. And the rest of Liberia and Liberians around the world listened to President Joseph Yuma Boakai almost 1 hour, 30 minutes, standing and addressing the Liberian people through their legislators. The president spoke a lot, as we expected. We do have the president's full speech. So you have it there with you. You can go through that. We were going through it, as he was delivering. And a lot of things were said. And someone would say the rousing part of the speech came almost at the end, where he started making commitments. He talked about road infrastructure, talked about intervention in health, talked about a whole lot of other things, including the energy sector and the rest. But we should expect that there will be critiquing of the president's speech from political parties. We've seen schedule already. The CDC through former Speaker Kofa will provide their post-Sona critique at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Another party is set for 11 a.m. tomorrow. Let me look at the schedule that I'm getting from political parties, which is a normal thing in Liberia. After the president delivers his State of the Nation address, political parties, opposition political parties, and figures. So the ANC will at 11 a.m. tomorrow, Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummins, the political leader of the Alternative National Congress, will at 11 a.m. tomorrow provide their critique to the president's State of the Nation address. And the CDC, through former Speaker J. Fonati Kofa, will at 2 p.m. tomorrow also have a press conference critiquing the president's third State of the Nation address. But I'll start with you here, Rosemary, in studio. What's your take from President Boakai's third annual message, if you want to call it that way?
Well, Diamond, I don't know. It's a mix. I have mixed emotions, in as much as he talked about other things that are beneficial to Liberia and the Liberian people. I stated earlier on that I was here representing the young people.
So who you are representing? The old people?
You representing the old people. And there were two things that I expected him to talk about. Firstly, talking about rehabilitation. I think he talked about putting them, through rehabilitation. But then once they're out, what's next? That was one thing. What happens after rehabilitation? Are we creating jobs for these people? I know he said they created 70,000 jobs, right?
Yeah,
over 70,000 jobs, and I don't know. It just seemed far-fetched to me. But we will go through that again. And another major point that wasn't raised by the president is the cases, the rape cases that we have had over the year in Liberia, and even entering into 2026, we've had a couple of rape cases. There was an 18-year-old girl that was raped to death, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, by two men. There have been sodomization cases. So these cases were not addressed. I did not hear him say anything about the rape cases in Liberia. So those two were my main focus point. I was listening to see if I would have heard something about it. I'm very sure the Ministry of Health has some sort of statistics or some sort of information when it comes to the rape cases in Liberia. But however, I listened, and he said what he could say.
Okay. So, James, what's your takeaway? Sona 2026 is done and dusted with. The president of the Republic of Liberia has departed the grounds of the capital. What's your take on the president's State of the Nation address?
Yeah, the president spoke for about 1 hour 30 minutes, so he spoke on lots of things. And one of them, one of the major places I would love to touch has to do with the economy, where he talked about the economy growing up to 5.1%, and also for the first time, inflation dropping to 4.0%. And even before his speech, I think I posted it like I knew about it. So that is one of the places that I really waited for the president to speak on his agenda regarding the economy, and the plans that came out. They are also okay. Another one is the 600 housing units that he talked about, that will be built across 6 counties beginning next month. That's February. I also appreciate that part of his speech. And, I love how he began his speech by speaking about the place where he was speaking from. That has to do with the Capitol Hill, or the legislature, the attack on the Capitol about a year or two ago, where he said his government is doing everything to investigate those who are responsible. And if people are found guilty, they will bear the full weight of the law. And I think that was a beautiful start. That start alone already got certain group of people in Liberia angry, even before the president went further in the third or the fourth paragraphs into his speech. And it got them to, glued to their radio and television, because they were like, okay, this is what you say, what next? And I think it was a good approach. And those who prepared the speech, I think they did well by putting that at the first for the president to begin with it. And my critique about the speech, I think it was so long, and at times it became boring to me. Now looking at his age, I was even afraid. Like, I was talking to the CEO in the back, I'm like, this speech is so long. I think they should have reduced it to at least an hour or a little below an hour. So it was so long. They should not do that. Looking at his age, anytime stability will come in. So yes, the speech was okay. I have it. I will read it, because I think it's about the pictures you posted. I have about 25 of them. So that's 14 pages. So it's a very long speech. I will go through it. And yes, he did well. I knew he was going to talk about the yellow machine. He talked about that. Another one that was raised by Deputy Minister Fatima about a week or two ago has to do with the redefinition of cities in Liberia. The president also talked about it, that his government will redefine cities, what makes a city. And currently we have about 141 cities, or a little above that. But according to the deputy minister, after their re-evaluation, they came down to 30 to 35 cities. So the president talked about that. They have to take it to the legislature. And his legislation, I also admire some of the things he talked about, working on a bill that will outline how a transition should be. Transitions in Liberia have been somehow off track. Looking at WIAS coming in, the WIAS administration and the Barker's administration, how those transitions were handled, I think it was somehow. And if there is a legislation set aside to regulate that, I think it will be okay. And his foreign policy, I love his approach, dealing strictly with transactional foreign policy. I think it's okay, not depending on foreign aid, but investment, going for economic diplomacy. I think economic diplomacy is now the new the new international tools that every nation playing with in the world, and Liberia getting involved into that, I think is paying off. If you look at how the government has been moving, and he talked about it, transactional diplomacy is good sometimes. It's good for a country like ours because we do transaction. You come and invest, we move on, and that's good. Yeah.
All right, James. Thank you. I'm going through the president's speech. You know, he talked about, and that's one thing we've been talking about here in Liberia. This issue of a national health insurance, you know, universal health insurance coverage, where people go to private or public facilities, and they tell you if you don't have money to pay, they wouldn't treat patients. You know, and it leads to a lot of deaths because while your family is looking for money up and down, you know, you wouldn't be touched, and you might lose your life. That intervention is not done. So he mentioned that in his opening, that there will be a universal, you know, health insurance in Liberia. They're looking to implement that. He also talked about expanding the Liberia Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority's mandate to enhance the output. But mainly, what I was looking out for in all of that was his plan this 2026 to bring about empowerment and job creation. Because at the end of the day, and he said it, that you can build all of the infrastructures, you can do everything, but if your people do not have the means, the economic means, you know, to thrive in their own country and for the resources to stretch all across, that is key. Because you might just end up not achieving anything when ordinary Liberians cannot afford, you know, to sustain themselves daily. You mentioned, as you said, going to, you know, the economic diplomacy where, and I credit that to President Donald Trump. If Trump had not taken that high line of position that says, look, it's about what we can do for each other economically, rather than depending on me, Liberia wouldn't be singing that song as we're singing now.
No, I think anyways, yeah, go ahead.
The user drawdown alone, that sent a message, you know, that look, and when President Barker did visit, it was all about what can we do economically. So putting that in his speech comes from that hard punch, and you heard him say it as well, that the drawdown of foreign, you know, funds and donor funds and all those things, the country had to stand on its own. And sometimes it takes a kick from the back from an outsider to put you on track, because we're too dependent. You know, he talked about the local revenue that was raised a record high and all those things, but at the end of the day, it's about job creation, job creation, job creation. The president mentioned 70,000 jobs in all sectors, short and medium term. And you said it earlier on, James. Where is the metrics?
That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. Where is the metrics to track these things? Because Rosemary said it sounds far-fetched, but if you were to give us a database where we can see that, okay, in the short term there was the relays project, you know, there was this other project, there was the internship project, there was another project, and these projects, you know, put these X number of persons on jobs, short and medium term. We have road construction projects that are going on, that are some of which have just started, like the expansion of roads, community roads in various places. They are employing people, right? But we need that database from the Ministry of Labor to be able to say, look, in 2025, these are the jobs that were created, short, medium, and long term. But if the president comes out and gives out a bucket number, or a bulk number, as Rosemary rightly put it, then we ask, where's the data? And fact checkers are watching. But it's even going to be difficult for fact checkers to go and, if you cannot find a database to cut that against. So it's really something that we need to work on. The urbanization. He talked about the issue of cities. Man, we need to reclassify what a city is in Liberia.
Media from your end.
And no offense to the crew people, but Grand Crew has got the highest number of cities.
I think they have about 46 or 48 cities.
And what constitutes a city? We should be looking at these things, you know. Because what are the amenities in those places? What are the utilities in those places? What's the level of development? Is it just because we want to say this is a city for the namesake? But if we are a country that's serious about infrastructure development, we must define what is a municipal, what is a metropolitan, what is a township, what is a town, and all of those things. So it's serious. We need to work on that, and we need to have database in our country, to make sure that we can cross and reference these things as well.
Yes. Thank you, Damon. Like I said,
yeah, go ahead, Rosemary.
He talked about the maternal deaths as well, and that's a good thing that it has dropped, because maternal deaths is something that we've been talking about over the years, and not just in his government, but in past governments. We've been talking about women losing their lives when they go to hospitals to give birth, and seeing that the rate has dropped. It's actually a huge milestone for Liberia and for Liberians. So, and the rice issue, because now rice was staple food, and he said now we can get the Indian parboil for $14.50.
And that's a fact. That's an established fact.
Yeah, so
President Baka had all right to brag about that.
Yes,
because when we talk about bread and butter issues in Liberia, the first thing is how can a Liberian person afford the staple?
Right.
The president was right to also brag about the road connectivity issue, especially in the region to the southeast, and all of those things. No matter how political you want to say it that way, that's an achievement on his government's part, and he will hire himself about that.
So we'd like to applaud his government for that.
Yeah, another key point is to remove the statute of limitation
on corruption
cases.
Yes, he said that.
That is huge, because whenever people commit acts of corruption, by the time they leave power, Rosemary, it's almost 6 years. And by the time you try to prosecute, they tell you the statute of limitation on that matter has
it has expired.
It has expired, so you cannot touch this person. You cannot touch this person, and that in itself has contributed to the culture of impunity in Liberia. Yeah, James.
Yes, like I said previously, right, regarding this job creation, it doesn't matter how you put it, you cannot provide any data to dispute what the president said, because we don't have these institutions to give us the exact number. So I think this is now a wake-up call for the government. If President Baka and his people will not want for people to critique them or the public to critique them, they now need to set up a department in the Ministry of Labor or create an institution that will be responsible for national statistic on labor, on job creations. They will be able to say employment, temporary jobs created. You will get all of these numbers, but for now, even fact checkers cannot tell us exactly how many jobs were created within 1 month in Liberia, because you don't have a statistic, you don't have a platform to go. Someone will tell you that Metasty, provided 10,000 jobs, 2,000 jobs. How can you dispute that fact? You are now within their system. Even if you are within a system, you don't know how many people get employed weekly or monthly or yearly. So we need these institutions that will go to these places. Even shops, they can go to these places. How many people working at home? How many people working for people in their stores, the Lebanese stores and so on? Those are employment. It doesn't mean government has to create all of these jobs, but government provide an avenue for people to get employed. Employment is not just government giving people a job. No, from the private sector to the government. All those jobs, they should be able to catalog them in order to get them. Damo, I don't know, to get data on Liberia, Damo, besides job, is difficult. I went through it for...
I read here in Liberia, we had an assignment, and the assignment was total number of traditional marriages in Liberia.
You can never get them.
2024, 2025. we went to the Ministry of Internal Affairs to get that record. We part left, part right, part central, part east, part north, part south, southeast, southwest, and they just kept drilling us and 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 drilling us until there was an intervention from a minister before we were able to get records for 2 out of the 3 years.
Yeah. So, you know, like
just bulk figure, not counted wise, just bulk figure us 245 traditional marriages in 2024, 350 in 2025, and it took tooth and nail to get it.
So it's difficult, Damon. Liberia cannot even provide how many people graduated from university in a year. That's how sad it is. The country cannot tell you how many people graduated in political science in Liberia in a year or in this department in a year. We should have all of these things. For God's sake, we are above 170 years now. We should be able to set all of these things in place. If previous administrations did not do it, the current administration should start. If they will not finish, the next administration to come will continue from where they stop. Damo, I went through that for almost a week. The Ministry of Gender had to help me. The president talked about the street child. My TC was in that where I talk about getting Liberian kids off the street to go back to school. Damo, when I got ready for that project, as the manager, I even had a show on the radio. It took me about 2 months before I could complete that project. I had to practically call people in Liberia because no data. The Ministry of Gender had to help. How many children were picked off the street, and they could not even provide a documented number. They had to call numbers in their mouth. We took 5,000 of 100,000, 300,000. You know,
it's approximating.
Yeah, it's confusing, Damo. That project, Damo, my professor had to cancel my project for like 2 times because I could not give reference or references.
So
the last
again,
part I had to do, I had to carry a video.
President
Yeah, just in conclusion, a video reference of me interviewing the deputy minister at the Ministry of Gender, where I brought him on this very radio to interview him. That was the only reference that saved me. The university had to see that interview and they watched that 1-hour interview from start to end before they could correct my TC. It's difficult for people who are out of Liberia going to school to get data on our country. Is sad. We need to work on it.
Yeah, so the president also spoke about attracting investment to build a productive economy. And that is key to economic empowerment and job creation. He said that the government has strategically leveraged opportunities to attract credible investments and responsibly exploit natural resources for the benefit of the people. He talked about the agreement with the consensual to access agreement on Avanho for the Yekepa-Buchanan Rail Corridor and an amended deal for Asada Meta. Together, these two represent $4 billion in committed investments. He also spoke about the Putu mining reactivation, and that is key to the people of the southeast region of Liberia. You know, Putu mining, the president talked about it. What we know from information is that is at its concluding stages. President Bwaka also spoke about that. He said that is going to bring development to the people of the southeast because that region needs an injection of new life, economic life in the southeast. If you go there, Rosemary and James, you see that much of the income is either in the extractive, the informal extractive sector, what we can call go boys, you know, and that kind of stuff, and logging, you know, and logging as a whole, it has been a paramount way of life there for the people of the southeastern region because they have a bulk of the forest. But aside that, and other small trading, there isn't the injection of any sort of big concession ongoing that could employ a lot of people, and you see an overflow in the economy. And the people of Nigeria and the southeast are equally very keen on the reactivation of the Putu mining concession that President Bwaka spoke about. He spoke about public transportation. He commended the NTA. He spoke about 3 domestic planes, right? If I heard him right, conclusion with a Korean company, 3 planes, domestic flights and all of that. But at the end of the day, for me, this is a defining moment for President Boakai's presidency. 2024 Sona, Liberians understood. It was transitional. 2025, to a larger extent, if we were to do an approval rating, again, not speaking from stats, I don't want to say a figure, but some portion, that's why I'm using some portion of Liberians still understood and gave him a slack. But now this 2026, you've been in power for 2
We're expecting much
years.
So we have high expectations.
So the expectation now is high. And the highest of all of the expectation has got to do with job creation. Creating an enabling environment for investment, for investors. And investors don't necessarily mean multilateral corporations and big companies. Even Liberians, home and abroad, you should create an enabling environment for us to invest in our own country without the hassle that we go through. You mentioned a youth bank and all these things.
That is coming this 2026.
Yes, we need to have access
the investment
to loans. We need to have preferential treatment in our own country as Liberians. Where is the Liberianization policy that should be implemented to the core? Why are we having an influx and disrespect and disregard to the Liberianization policy? You go in relay, you see foreigners selling, thing by retail. You see them competing with Liberians. You importing and then you distribute, then you retailing at the same time. Whereas we don't have the power economically to compete with you. So there should be preferential treatment for Liberians in our own economy. And I always say this, when you go to China, Rosemary, foreigners don't own business.
Of course.
You don't. If you want to own a business, you must have a Chinese partner and you guys are 50-50, or the Chinese partner has more percentage and shares in the company than you. They protect their people. But yeah, it's the opposite.
So you think we're not being protected?
We are not being protected. If we were being protected, look, Rosemary, let's be honest to the conversation and leave the politics aside. If we're being protected, big companies will not be going out of the country to go bring drivers.
Right.
When our people can be trained and in a turnover period, they can get their certificates and drive those heavy duty equipment. If we were protected, you wouldn't go to a store and see the owner is a Lebanese, no disrespect or any kind of bias to Lebanese. The accountant or the treasurer is an Indian person,
right?
As if in Liberia there are no accountants.
And then the boys in the shop are Liberians.
The only store boys,
are
Liberians. So what is it that we don't know about accounting? We have our people graduating in public policy, in public administration, in accountancy, and in other fields.
It happens much in big enterprises. Every time you go there, the people in higher positions are always foreigners, and then the ones that are just maybe sweeping the yard or holding the plastic bag, then those are the Liberians.
Jobs. If you go to institutions, and today I'm speaking my truth, this is where I want to speak from. We have thousands of Liberians that are graduating every day from schools. Where is the sponge to absorb them when we give all of the jobs to foreigners? They better go bring an accountant from Lebanon, he bring a salesman from India, he bring another person from this place, he bring a person from this place, and the Liberian men are the store bought. Then the small little and retailing that we're supposed to do, we allow the foreigners to take all of that. We should be giving back our economy to our people. That is why we have economic capital flight in Liberia. All of our money goes out. Or the accountant from India, so he's sending money back to India.
Of course. People got to develop that country.
The chief mechanic from Lebanon, so he sends all his money back to Lebanon. The general manager is from the Philippines, so he or she sends all their money to the Philippines. What is the turnover period?
And it's crazy because I had this back and forth with It was one big store. I'm not going to call their name. And then I ordered things. Even when they follow you to come and install the things, they have the white man standing over the Liberians there to make sure that they install. And then sometimes even when the white man just goes out small, the Liberians will be begging you for small money. Like even if you give them anything, they're not even going to give the white man will not give it to the Liberians. So he's there, he's supervising, but they are doing the work, but then they are not benefiting from the work that they are doing.
Rosemary and James, and to every other Liberian listening, if we want to build a Liberian middle class, if we want to empower our people, we have to protect and put their interests first. The liberalization policy must be implemented. We must be able to speak truth to investors that are coming in. Gone are those days that we're making an excuse that, oh, we just from war, so what we need to do is to give leverage to the investors. They can do whatever they want, and then later on, we can build confidence in our country. I see someone commenting that Liberians are not trusted. Oh, you get them money, they will steal. Foreigners do steal as well. Foreigners do steal. So what's the excuse here?
That's the mindset that we have when we talk about Liberians not giving the opportunity. We say, oh, Liberians don't have integrity.
Foreigners do steal. We see court cases all across Liberia. Yeah. Foreigners are involved in those cases. They steal. That's why we should build a good system. If a foreign firm is coming to Liberia, BOT, we give you a period of transition. Okay, bring your people in. After 2 to 3 years, depending on how technical the job is, in this period of time, the management should shift from being solely foreigners to 70 to 80% Liberians. So you want to tell me that all the time, B Mountain, Asolamita, and all the companies be operating, Liberian people don't know how to drive BB trucks.
And when you go to For Life Zoe, there are a lot of Liberians that have graduated just recently from driving yellow machines and those big objects.
Okay, so if the excuse is we're not skilled, give us the skills. The government should be looking at
that. Should not even be the excuse, Diamond. That should not even be the excuse, because there are a lot of skilled young people in this country.
That is the reason when you get one old car as a young person in Liberia, the eyes can be juking you. And it's a risk to us in Liberia that one person will be shining in the community and the rest of the youth are languishing behind. It's bad. It's very bad. That is the reason most of our young people are turning to becoming beggars. Because we cannot protect our own. And I want to see a government, James and Rosemary, that will come to power and say, look, we will protect Liberians, we will protect the liberalization policy, we will implement it, and we'll make our people to not be spectators in their own economy.
We're praying for you.
You think when that thing happening, pressure will be on government for everybody to go in government job? When I can successfully get loans, work out my business, employ other young Liberians, you think everybody will be rushing to say, I will say, who won't get in government job? It wouldn't be that way. James, it's over to you. Let's go back to the Sudan. That was just something, that talked about economic empowerment and how the government, through enforcement, can give Liberians economic empowerment. Just implement a liberalization policy. If you're an investor, bring the goods in, let Liberians trade the goods from you, let them go and sell, let them be the retailers, and let them give money as a wholesaler. And let's see if it wouldn't work.
Yeah, that's another good point. And like the president talked about this economic diplomacy, that's okay. And yes, we Liberians need it, but in a state of rebuilding, you also need to get multinational corporations to come in. These corporations like Starlink, like Apple and others, if you have these companies coming in, it's also going to create jobs for Liberians across. Because if you have Apple going to Liberia, you have McDonald's and others going to Liberia, you have these companies everywhere in the country, at least few people will get jobs and those people will be able to feed their families. But one of the most important thing the president talked about, Damo, and I think they should start doing it tomorrow, is that Central Street graveyard. that Center Street graveyard, removing it, I think it is, should I say, is 200% okay. That place is like a death trap. I don't know if I lived in Central Monrovia for about 5 years, between 2010 to 20. That is between 2010 to 2016 to 17. I live in Central Monrovia, bro. Center Street is like a death trap. You can't move there freely, and you see young people sleeping in the grave. So removing it, I think it will be okay. Relocate the graves, and then build recreational center
Right,
to
because
that
they
place.
cannot leave it.
Yeah.
I said right because they cannot leave it if they remove the graveyard and don't put anything there. We will still
Yes.
have to use there.
Remove it, and maybe you can build stores, or you just build a recreational center like park, in national park, something that would be meaningful to the general public, that would get criminal away from that place, because that place has been a terrible spot in the central part of our capital. You cannot have that place where you have I don't want to call them Zogo. The days of I don't. Let me just leave it. Our brothers there, our brothers and sisters being there. I think you need to get them off and work on that place. Government will also get money. Private citizens will get money. People will get employed there. I know we will be scared first and say people used to be buried here. I don't want to go there. The spirit, no spirit. When you die, you die. Spirit will not come.
Let's just make it football fee.
Yeah, forget about spirit. You die, you die.
Let's just make it sports park.
I think that was one of the best part of the president's speech, and I don't want this to just be another speech. Let them start this process, man, in 2026. At least before 2029, let that place be okay. So when we are back home, and every Sunday we all can meet there and have fun.
And another thing, we passed, if I stand to be corrected, the largest bill in the Liberian history, the 1.2 billion bill.
Oh yeah,
yeah, the
our
budget. We passed that, one of the largest one. So
again, the issue of the budget.
Because I learned that it's being financed through domestic resources.
Yeah,
and that's going to limit, our dependency on external forces or external sources.
Yeah. So we're about to wrap up. Spoon Talk and the rest of the team will delve into the president's State of the Nation address in details. We've shared the speech on our page. You can go there and read for yourself and get all of what President Boyka did say whilst he addressed the nation through our legislators. By the end of the day, the president has fulfilled his constitutional duty. He talked about repealing institutions and agencies that were established by PRC decrees. Some of those institutions and agencies, he said, they're obsolete to our current dispensation, so they need to be repealed. We're looking to see which institutions are those. The president talked about the fight against corruption, talked about the number of cases, indictments, and cases that have been cleared and prosecuted. So he stressed on the rule of law. But as James rightly said, the opening of his message was a strong-tuned opening on the capital arson case, that those who will be found guilty will face the full weight of the law. So we're looking to see whether or not that is going to bring a new breath of energy into the prosecution, because we've had a lot of, different public narratives from both ends. But we're following up on that case. By the end of the day, fellow Liberians, it takes only us as Liberians to develop our country,
to build Liberia.
And he encouraged the Liberian diaspora, which is very, very instrumental.
They rather been helping Umpa. Even though we can be twin, but they've actually been helping. They've really been helping the Liberians in the diaspora.
We the Logarees in the diaspora. We'll have our moments.
Yeah, but they've done well.
Look,
they've done well.
Look, if you lived on a refugee camp, like some of us did, that is where we started to feel and notice the impact of the Liberian diaspora. For those of us who lived refugee life. Because with our stats, just by our statistics, we all were unemployed. 90% to 95% of Liberians living, in refugee settlements were unemployed. We depended solely on diaspora support with some United Nations aid. But Liberians living in refugee settlements depended
on the Liberians outside,
on the Liberian diaspora. That was the first place we got to know about control number.
The MoneyGram and the West End.
And I'm speaking from the Ghanaian experience. Because of the Liberian refugee camp, Trust Bank had to open a branch right opposite Buduburam. Another bank had to open a branch because Liberians were solely going to Kaneshi first. So they brought the banks closer. That tells you how much money was coming in from the Liberian diaspora to support, their brothers and sisters, their family members who were refugees. So that was the first impact of the Liberian diaspora.
And I think
in Liberia, if you go to places like Marshall James, you go to Toison and other places, and other parts of Liberia, the diaspora is improving. They're building their homes.
There are buildings. Like when you see the mansions and the houses and the business places that these people are putting down.
Rufus say, Adama, I remember you see when you were a small dry.
Yeah, to be frank, Damo, money ready come from the diaspora to Liberia. I think about I might not be exact. I think about 800 million entered Liberia last year, just from people within the diaspora to support their families, their project, friends, and relatives.
Like, I mean, we're full of money now.
Nah, forget about that. They will not. You have your daughter, you have your son, you have your mother, you have everybody back home. You need to send something.
Let's be honest, as we're wrapping up, we're doing it on a lighter note. If you were to put 10 members from the Liberian diaspora, irrespective of the country they find themselves in, and you ask them whether they want to live the rest of their lives there, they will tell you no.
They will say no. Definitely.
They will tell you no.
Definitely.
I want to come back home.
Yes.
But we need better healthcare. I want to come back home, but we need stable electricity because that's the life they used to now. And that's the life that we should get used to as well. Having social amenities available.
And they're always talking about the port issues.
Yeah, the water, the port, and all these things.
Bringing things in the country like it's so expensive. You're paying another car money to free one car. All of those things they are complaining about it. Because when people come in and need car now to be going around, there you go pay $4,000 to free one car. What you buy?
$3,000 on the usher. And there's nowhere like home. Right. If you ask many of our people living in the diaspora, they'll tell you.
Oh, Liberia is very
it's in the way you can taste back home.
Organic. Like you say, it's organic.
Like you can talk on there, so you know the one they can use. Is that how they can call it?
Organic.
Where's my radar diaspora?
Liberia pseudo.
Jeez. I haven't spent a long time outside of Liberia apart from my refugee days, but when we traveled these few days, and the first thing you miss, at first I didn't used to believe this thing that people can actually cry to want to come back to Liberia.
No, you get sick. You get homesick.
It happened to me today.
You get homesick.
It has happened to me as well.
After some time, I just feeling bad.
I got depressed.
I just remember myself. So somebody asked me, "But what happened?" I said, "Go back
Liberia." Home. I got depressed. I had to come back. Okay, when you get money.
Yeah, like even me, for almost 4 years, I still get homesick. You know what been helping me when I came the first 1-2 years was social media. Social media got me connected with everyone back home. So the homesickness I got it for almost a year plus. Sometimes you just get the food, the friends, the conversations, everything.
It's just different.
Everything. You miss everything. Like sometimes when I'm talking to my friends back home, I just feel like I want to be with them. Sometimes when I see some event happening back home, I'm like, I just want to be there right now. Up to now, I still get homesick. And one thing again, one of the advantages that I got from it is it got me to remain in do more. So I'm thinking even if I return home, if it will not stay affect my movement. Like now, I don't just go out to walk randomly if I don't have anything doing out. Like the way others will say, let me go and walk around. The homesickness caused that for me.
You found somewhere to go.
Yeah, the homesickness caused that for me, that I don't just go out like that. That's the major thing you get, except when you get job. That's why you see most people in the West from job, as soon as they come, they take out their boots, they sleep when they wake up to work, from work to bed, from bed to work or to school. So that's how it is. Like people always want to be back home. Home is the best, Diamond. I can tell anybody.
That's why we need to have all hands on deck, all hands to the pump, and make our home a place that both we, the locals, and our returning, brothers and sisters can have a comfortable stay. We need the amenities, the infrastructure, and everything. And above all, we need to open our arms, to our people. And this system where when people come, then you see them, a red plump. Yeah. As soon as you come, yeah, they see you like red plum script because
your
colopa can sound like
they can be smelling nice, you can see that sneakers all white. Like the people from America, you see them, you can identify them. That sneaker all whiter than our sneakers than I hear.
In China, they pay everything with the phone. Their entire cash is cashless. Yeah, their transaction.
We're getting there.
It's cashless. You don't see money like that.
Yeah.
So I want to buy juice. We eat most want to no more now. I want to buy juice, and the juice was 14 RMB. The juice was 14 RMB. But she told me the juice was 20 RMB. Yeah. So myself as Zona, I've been around. So I crack, I crack in the corner. She already serving one other guy. So when she served the guy, the man took a phone to pay. So the man took a phone to pay. The man pay what you Alipay. The man show on the phone. So I saw it. Like the man pay off 14. So I said, hey, so myself I take the 14. I put it in. I couldn't understand anymore. No more. Me plan me. I couldn't understand anymore. But for the facial expression in the audio, no more. Me plan the man. So while I'm going to pay right for me to see. So that's more eating part. It all over. But the eating what I'm talking about is where you try to create bottlenecks, try to make things hard.
Right.
People want to invest and want to do things, and you try to make it look like it's like moving a mountain.
Yeah.
Then people get discouraged.
Most times they do that. They do that when people ask them, "Oh, please help me, to handle my housing issues and to help me build my house or to help me build this." They will tell, even if that $8 for cement, they will tell the people, say that $10, $15 for cement bag.
Again, our people that business people,
a lot of people that have been scammed through this whole building process thing.
But you listen to the president talk about that Millennium Estate stuff. That was a huge thing. That estate that opposite the EBK. When you go into the airport, that estate, like get 3 horses that just opposite the barracks.
The barracks, yeah.
A lot of Liberians left in the hole in that.
Yes. I heard about that.
And that's what he spoke about.
They sold the houses to 3, 4, 5 persons. One house they will sell it to 5 persons.
A lot of Liberians left in the hole like that. And that was a whole company. And they still have litigation issues happening. And majority of those were diaspora Liberians.
Yeah.
Because they sold this place as a good project, and the diaspora let to live around the diaspora. Child Liberian let to live around each other in the diaspora. How the diaspora let to live around the diaspora in the same area. So you found out that many diaspora Liberians will buy land at the same place, build their houses, and then the Nime after they played or living in America, either Philadelphia Avenue or Minnesota Avenue or some other avenue, you know, because they want to feel that sense of togetherness and stuff like that. And that project, that's what President Barker spoke about in the State of the Nation address. It said justice will be done.
No, it needs to be.
It needs to be.
It needs to be. You can't be wicked like that.
I thought it was for the
They're
government.
very wicked to each other, you know.
Yeah, to me, Chinaya said my Oma is one of the victims.
Yeah,
I thought it was for the government.
No.
They saw those places. One person.
Damo, I was still in Liberia, I think somewhere around 2021. I heard seditious back then saying it was
for that project.
They said it was for We Are. They said that We Are project.
They said it was We Are Estate.
Yeah, President, we are program for that project. I was covering it. At that time, we went there for that project for the groundbreaking. It turned out that they said I want Ghana guy, you know, bidding the project and all that kind of stuff. So
I'm just hearing it from you.
By going after these things that will discourage Liberians from wanting to invest in their country. And that's one.
Because I think I was driving. Okay, you know this guy who used to be with us, the driver, what's his name?
Vincent.
Yeah, Vincent told me it was government project. Vincent was driving. We were driving. I think we were going to RIA when he showed me that place somewhere around 2021. But then I never knew how to drive yet. Ooh.
You know now?
I never used to drive in Liberia if I move from here.
I beg you. I can't trust you, my chickies.
I drove 2 cars before leaving Liberia. Then you say I drove from Liberia, from Monrovia to Ganta. Then you stay asking if I can drive.
How many hours it took you to reach Ganta?
Bro, ask my guys.
Who are guys? Tell me about that drive, James. Everybody said they prayed and they didn't pray in the left before. They had to see those prayers. But anyway, let's wrap up. It seems like
I think I spent like 2 hours.
2 hours from Monrovia to Ganta?
Yeah.
At that time for any driver like you?
Yeah. I think 2 hours, 30 minutes, something around there. 11 in the morning.
All right. We're calling it a day on that, yeah? All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a wonderful presentation. There will definitely be post-Sona analysis. We just decided to, you know, lighten it up and talk about the real issues that affect Liberians, both home and abroad. And one of the things we all can agree on, irrespective of politics, is that the Liberians whom want to see Liberians from abroad. So they empower a lot of people. And the Liberian diaspora also wants to return to Liberia. But for them to return, they also need security, they need insurance, you know, they need assurance,
they need to trust.
They need everything. It's not easy to stay. Baba told me and James, Baba say my son in America when they say you're standing for 12 hours, you're standing for 12 straight hours.
Tama, if you go in the bathroom, you get 5 minutes.
12 straight hours, and instead there's something that every hour you go test it to show that you're there. Every hour you go test it. There's somebody suffer like that for like money until you know.
Maybe they are on the job too, not small thing. You go test something every hour.
Yes. So that's it. The diaspora needs trust. The diaspora needs security. The diaspora needs assurance. And at the end of the day, when you go to Ghana, Nigeria, and other places, their diaspora has done a lot. A lot. It's because their country provided them that security, provided them that assurance, provided them that insurance as well.
We don't have a serious series on the National Port Authority.
That whole thing. No,
nobody send me cow, but the people can really complain about those things. Like it's exorbitant to free things from our port.
the funny things that are happening on social media. Seditious are saying everything President Barker talk about that We Are project.
James, y'all will discuss the We Are project tonight on the show. You know, whatever it is. At the end of the day, I live for the drama. You know, I love to see the arguments, the claims and the counter claims and all of these things, because between those you will find the facts. Yeah, between the claims and the counter claims, you'll definitely find the facts. If you do your investigation and you take all of the sides, and you will find the facts of what it is. Rosemary is still talking about whoever that sent her that car. that they had to pay a lot of money to get a car, or
that was not what I said.
what happened to the car?
That was not what I said.
You're Rocky.
It's expensive to get a car?
Yes, it is. It is. It is not just car. Anything that comes through that port is expensive to free.
Why you talking about your car? Why you talking about your car story?
There are a lot of times, you know, people will go to China or, you know, around and order things. And then when it passes through the port, they charge them a lot of money. So these days, the people don't want to send anything to Liberia. They don't want to send, I'm talking about a car, but they don't want to send anything to Liberia because they spend more money to free it than the money that they even spend to get them.
So me, I still ask you, what happened to the car?
There is nobody that's in car.
Even DHL.
Friends complain.
Even DHL is very expensive.
Very, very expensive.
Yeah. I got my school document from Liberia. I paid $140.
Okay.
Just papers. I think 3 or 4 papers. I paid $140.
All right, James. We call it a day because the more we keep Rosemary on a caster. It will keep coming out. So we just have to leave it like that.
I remember.
This way the nation is done. Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you, Diamond. You know, this is my first time being here for
thank you to Diamond. Diamond is here.
Conversation
for the graphics. Thank you to Bill. Thank you to Simeon Way in the corner there. These guys are our graphic crew. You know, they did a good job making sure that whatever the president was saying during the State of the Nation address, they were creating all of the quote banners and all of that. So it's a teamwork. Thank you to Nelson Collet, Yekesi Zugwe, Jurassic Joe, and the rest of the guys who were on the Capitol, there to bring everything. At Spoon, we believe in teamwork and we believe in multitasking. So that's up to you guys. Thank you to Rosemary. And my name is Diamond Slanger. Thank you to James.
Now, who asked me if I'm not going back to Liberia?
I mean, your answer that one from the meeting.
People get money at business.
For my entertainment platform, you can premiere on your platform.
People get money at business. What am I going back to Liberia got to do with you?
You know, the person
she needs to put one you can.
We
want to see her send with receipt.
To go do what thing?
We want to see her send with receipt, James. The Liberians, the diaspora, started putting their receipts out of the amount of money that they have sent to Liberia. We need to see yours.
No, even myself. I have my daughter there. I need to pay her school fee, rent, and food, and other things.
I see you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, folks, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. It's been a wonderful production. The post-Sona analysis will definitely happen on Spoon Talk tonight. You need to make it your business to join us live on the program. A lot of heavy hitters, a lot of big stakeholders, will be in studio tonight to talk about Spoon Talk and what the president said in his State of the Nation address. My name is Diamond Slanger. On behalf of the entire team, happy Sona Day to you. And have for yourselves a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.